So this is what I wish every new podcaster knew, based on what I've seen over years of working with podcasters, seeing what resonates, what connects versus what kind of starts and then fizzles out after, a few months usually. And it's really to do with the message versus the flash. And the easiest way I can explain it would be, if I was about to share with you how to make $1 million, would you care that I had a high definition camera? Would you care that I had the best microphone on the market? Or would you just want the message? And I think I see a lot of podcasters now who, at the start, what they do is they will obsess over what the mic is going to be, what the camera is going to be, how we're going to make it look good. Should we get a studio with lights? And, this has been a difficult one for me to accept as an audio person, as somebody who has a media background, has worked in radio for years. And I did used to tell people, to make sure your audio was up to a certain standard, to make sure your video was of a certain standard to represent yourself professionally. But what I'm seeing is that when you focus on that flash, and what's happened all the time is the clients that I have, that I tell them that and they start with that, I don't keep them for very long because they have focused on that and they've forgotten about their message. And the message is the thing that people are just not focused on at the moment. It's what I see with so many podcasters. They're starting, but they don't know who they're talking to. They're copying bigger podcasts. So they're trying to follow a format of, a hook of an intro and, speaking in a particular way, like a host should, when saying things like, without further ado. And it just doesn't connect. It's not real. And I think there's a real opportunity now in authenticity. And I'm trying to practice what I preach here, but by recording this with no script, with my box room here that's in a bit of a mess, and the Halloween decoration that my 3-year-old put up behind me, and my 9-month-old downstairs, which she may start crying at any point. This is all real stuff. I think what I see with podcasters now is that they're worrying about the things that will make them look and sound perfect, as opposed to what message they want to get across. And another example that comes up all the time is people, new clients, when I start with them, they want to over polish everything. They want ums and ahs removed. I just said there. They'd want that removed. There's requests that come to me. Make sure you tidy up all my ums and ahs. As if anyone cares. And it's funny because with the vast majority of those podcasts where they ask you to overproduce, over-polish, those are the ones where the messages are wrong. And I'm seeing a pattern in the ones that are just pure authentic. They know who they want to speak to. They know what the problem is they want to solve, and they just focus on that. They're the ones that are growing faster. I think the biggest one for me started with Wiser Than Before, which has become a really strong YouTube channel. The biggest video that we've had on that channel is 70,000 views and growing at a rate of around 200 views a day. And guess what? The guest has no microphone, laptop microphone built in, doesn't sound very good. I'll pop a link below so you can take a listen. That is one of the most successful podcasts in terms of views, downloads, listens, whatever you want to call it. Because of that episode, the host Josh has had a number of leads, people book calls, because the message was clear and it resonated, and they knew who they wanted to speak to. They knew what problem they wanted to solve, and they focused on it and they talked about it like two real people. And I think there's too much polish, too much over preparation, scripting, going into podcasts at the moment that makes them not feel real. And I think people want to connect with a real person. They want to feel like that person is like them, and they say real things, and they make real mistakes, and that's all very endearing. So this is the biggest piece of advice that I have for you if you're thinking about starting a podcast, is to start recording a podcast. Hit that record button and don't worry about all the other stuff. I think that's stuff you can build on as you go, as and when feels right. But unless your message is nailed down, your audience and your message, who am I speaking to exactly? I help which specific audience achieve what specific outcome, and do that for every episode. If you're getting on a guest, what problem are they going to help someone solve? And exactly who is that person? Because people are bored of generic podcasts, of scripted intros where they're going to tell you all about the great things that this podcast is without actually really delivering. People are bored of guests and tell me about yourself. Oh, I'm a CEO of a big company, and before that I was a president of another company, and before that I won multi-awards, and before that I got all these amazing qualifications. I don't care. What are you going to help me with? And if you focus on that, you're going to put yourself ahead of so many other people who are considering and who are starting podcasts, because that is the thing that I'm seeing over and over and over again that's missing, is the message and the audience. People just don't know who they're talking to. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm telling people now. I've changed my business model, stepping away from becoming somebody who just offers, I'll be the guy who polishes your audio, I'll be the guy who cleans up your ums and ahs, I'll be the guy who helps you refine your message. That's helped me increase my business, because that's where people are struggling most. And that's my biggest piece of advice now to people, is not to overthink equipment and the flash, the cameras, the lights, the platforms, and just focus on that core message and what is it. And that way you're also going to be able to start a hell of a lot cheaper. You won't have to spend a ton of money on equipment, on editors, on any of that stuff. Let it be raw, let it be authentic, and do that for 5 to 10 episodes, and then reevaluate and see, okay, what can we improve on? And that way you're doing it brick by brick, and you're not trying to get a perfect podcast at the start. If you want any help directly, be happy to book some time and speak to you on a call. I do free introduction calls where we can just chat it out and see where things are. It takes about 20 minutes. And then if you want more, we can look into it. So I'll leave a link below, and wishing you all the best with your new podcast.